Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. The topic of Archguns was brought up. Um, right now, there's basically two categories of Archguns. Um, the technically Archgun that is on the Void Rig, and it's the build or the Aquabex Archgun Artillery, which is on the Void Rig. It's its fourth ability. This is an absurdly powerful gun. It's insane. And even 100% crit chance when modded, 5.4 multiplier, base raw damage when modded with 266 or a 60/60 and two 120s. Modding for pure corrosive will essentially raw damage anything down. You will hit, I don't know, give or take 1.1 million on a crit while applying 80% status chance, guaranteed destroy armored units. Even going against steel path enemies in like an open world, this will chunk everything down immensely, especially if um, you're killing like Grenier. It's pretty easy to mod for uh, magnetic and toxin as well for more raw damage. If you're trying to kill with dots, I don't know why in the hell you would, but say you actually want like status procs off of this, um, I would suggest going for like a heat build, just because the raw damage is so high. But I don't know why you would. It's This is literally built to just kill everything. So this is that build. You'll notice that there are 5 core mods on these because there just isn't that much that you can mod on Archguns. Um, Prime Rubito Line Barrel. Obviously, if you don't have the regular one, Rubito Line Barrel is perfectly fine. You're just going to do less damage. Hollowed bullets, parallax scope, dual rounds, and automatic trigger. Everything else is basically going to be changing up these 3 mods here. Aquavex does not generate ribbons. um, and though technically this isn't an arch gun, it uses the arch gun mods, so that heavily limits the creativity you can put into this, and it's not going to have anything like Galv mods to boost its damage further. But this is the king of raw damage. So let's go over some variants. I'm not going to do all of them because frankly, most of them got power creeped. Like, you don't need to go over the Grattler because there's the Kuva Grattler, right? Um, let's cover the Corvus first. Here's the build I chose. Dual rounds. So basically, base damage, multi shot, crit chance, crit damage, fire rate is going to be on all of these. So we're just going to be messing with the other 3 mods. Um, Mod for whatever your enemy is weak against, obviously. This one comes with a charge shot. Pretty high damage on it. I'm actually kind of a fan. If you run something like Avenger, you can get oranges out of this. It's got a little bit of a pulse to it. It's pretty good though. Um, let's see what else. The Kuva Iyenga got a 57% heat. Went for corrosive heat build. Again, same thing as before. Damage, fire rate, crit chance, multi-shot, crit damage. It's pretty standard. With this one and the Grattler, um, you're gonna end up with a bunch of leftover capacity because you just don't have the expensive mods to throw in here. There's only one primed mod. for Archguns, and it's not like they're gonna come out with a primed parallax scope, right? But this weapon is fairly potent as well. It's got double damage on the hit. It's got the direct hit, and then it's got the radial AoE. Just built for corrosive heat. This weapon, as dumb as it is, there is a Archwing mission. I forget the name of it, where you need to stop a ship and then defend it. This gun and the Grattler, the Kuva variant, are capable of one-shotting all of the parts of the engine at the same time. So it makes doing certain missions really, really easy. But if you're doing, like, if you're actually flying around trying to kill stuff in Railjack, I just find that its magazine is a little too low. But this weapon certainly does a bit of damage. Corrosive heat definitely allows you to stack dots. It's going to be kind of slow though, because of the magazine, obviously, and the reload is 3 seconds. So I would rate this B tier. Obviously, you get your MR, right? But to be honest, I don't use this. Something a little more potent. 60 round magazine, less crit chance, but more status. Again, corrosive heat, just so you proc out a little more. The weapons weighted puncture. And I don't even use the ribbon that I have for it. So this is just one of those weapons where I feel it got power crept also. But it's got the double damage, it's got the direct damage from the bullet itself, and then the damage from the AoE. Same thing, just because there's not a lot of room to mod. And most of these actually all of these mod setups are going to be for like Railjack or like using the weapon in a mission. This is not going to be a Profit Taker build. Those are very specific ribbons. You're looking for faction damage. And the element would be pure 120s. And you would mod for your elements to have a variety of them. And it would be to whatever your taste is, right? So there's that one. That one can get pretty strong also. The big difference is that the radial attack is significantly nicer. The range on the radial attack for the Ianga is 6. Range on the Grattler's 9. And it has a bigger magazine, but it's a lower fire rate. Okay, let's go over one of my favorites, the Fluctus. Even rolled a nice ribbon for it. CCCD multi-shot. This weapon has infinite punch through. It's the good part about it. This weapon was particularly relevant on Orphic's Venom when you were doing the ship, where you were having to kill where the drop ships would come in. So this would be the meta weapon for the Orphic's Railjack mission if you're doing that, or you're just trying to make it as easy as possible to do the mission one time, right? Also an arcane farm, if you didn't know. Even though it's way slower than than doing an Eidolon, you can actually get kind of close if you have a group of people that know what they're doing. And more importantly, you can do it 24 hours a day. You're not waiting for night, right? So if you figure out where the drop zones are, you can just leave somebody there and you can just speed through everything. So definitely food for thought, having a Fluctus build if you're looking for something to have as like a flex, but this wouldn't be your main though, right? This weapon would be pretty good if you're running like a gas build, actually, because it would hit so many things in a straight line. You would run like a ton of status, you would do like a gas electric build and run 60s. And you would try to get your status as high as possible. And what you would do is you would then buff the hell out of it with like a Saren. Because you can buff these weapons with Saren's Spore Augment and Toxic Lash. So you can actually get decent damage out of these. And Eclipse also applies to these. So you can even though the modding's pretty weak, you can actually get the damage pretty high. But this weapon as well has been power crept. Let's talk about some of the new ones. Oh, the Larkspur. This is my favorite Archgun. Even did a little Riven for it. It's the Ghostbuster gun. Innate radiation. I just, again, modded for corrosive heat. And I'll actually show this to you guys. Hildren's gun. Right. It's got the little Ghostbuster effect. It's not too strong, though. This is a status-based gun, and it does help. It does help having something that buffs it. Like if you're doing like a Saren or something, you can get pretty good numbers. Actually, let me show you that. This is a pretty weak. Okay. You can get a ton of statuses with this. The damage obviously goes way up, right? 130 strength. Saren. The damage gets pretty nice. But because of the tether ability, it's kind of like the new core, where it jumps from enemy to enemy. This would be one of the few where, because the fire rate is so high. Let's see, damage, multi-shot, fire rate, crit chance. Yeah, I modded. The Riven has toxin on it. You could actually get away with doing a pure heat build. And there's a mod, and this is in the rare category. This is a rare drop called Ballistic Measure. The plus 20% range applies, right? You could do that and run like a pure heat. Definitely an option, but I'm a big fan of the corrosive heat. It's decent scaling, and generally you're running around with the Panzer, right? So you're gonna get viral on stuff. This is the newest one, the Prisma Dual Decurions, and they're weak as shit. When corrosive heat as well, the weapon's impact weighted slightly, not enough to really matter. But I went with corrosive heat for a general build. The issue with it is literally the ammo pool. If you notice with automatic trigger, it's 16 fire rate and the magazine's 32. It's just you go through ammo too fast. The reload is 1.4 seconds, so it's kind of nice. Compared to Archwing guns, which generally have really long reloads. Imperator Vandal. The old classic. Same thing, damage, crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot fire rate. And again, for like my general running around the star chart and steel path build, doing corrosive heat, evenly weighted. But this was, and probably still is, if you have a Riven rolled for it, a very strong profit taker Archgun. You wouldn't worry about status then. So having a weapon with higher crit chance is obviously nice. But then you would just swap out for 120s instead of running the 60/60s. You would forma and get 120s on here for whatever element you wanted it to be. And you would have to coordinate with whatever your setup is. So personal favorites, the Larkspur. I just think it's silly and it's kind of fun. Okay, Velocitus. As of September 5th, 2022, this is pretty meta for Profit Taker right now. Really high crit chance on the charge shot. Really high raw damage. Comes innate magnetic. And it's the same thing as before. Obviously, I have a Riven for this. But base damage, crit chance, crit damage. We got our two 60/60s and the 120 for heat. Multi-shot, all the good stuff, and there's fire rate on the Riven, so it slots in just nicely, right? Ideally, just letting you know, you want, was it crit chance, crit damage, faction on this, or some combination, but you want the faction damage for Corpus, because it's the only way you can get faction damage on here. And again, with the elements, you would mod for raw damage, similar to doing like an Eidolon hunt. And you would just try to burst it down because you can't apply statuses, right? So this is what you're looking for. Crit chance, crit damage, faction, minus zoom or something, Reload, punch through is 5 innately. And on the charge shot, I'm pretty sure it's infinite. So, food for thought. Let's get into the more meta weapons for running around. More specifically with, say, like a Void Rig or something, like a Necromech. Like, what would you put on it? You have the Mausolon, the Morga, and the Cortege. Mausolon is for general use for running around and killing stuff. For like a mech. This is going to be your go-to Archwing gun. And I even use this in Railjack. If you're not doing something hyper-specific like an Eidolon or Profit Taker, this is the weapon that I'm generally using. And this is just part of power creep. It's not the main fire. The main fire, to be honest, is a little weak. It's the alt fire. 18,000 direct damage. The radial attack is 55,000. Because of the Riven that I got, CCCD damage and status duration, don't care about that because I'm going for a one-shot. Can hit oranges somewhat regularly, and occasionally, just for the meme, I'll run like an Avenger setup. But this weapon does level cap A-OK. And it can just raw damage stuff down. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where the base damage, or the direct base fire, primary fire, is only able to kill trash mobs. But the alt fire scales really, really hard. And let me show you that. So if you're looking for like one Archwing gun to throw some forma at, I would recommend the Mausolon. It's just, it's so strong. Starts out at 300. 10 stacks of corrosive and heat, scales up to 2,000. It's kind of whatever, right? But these guys are a bit tanky, so they might be like level 500s, irregular units. And yeah, it does have a little AoE on the alt fire. It helps with the procs. But that's about it. The Panzer puts in work, given the viral. Alright, so here's the money shot, right? 1.9 million. Pretty nasty fall off, though. So that's why people use this, and it's honestly the reason why I'm going to recommend it, because a lot of the other weapons don't even have alt fires. So it's pretty feel good. And now that we got the alt fire charged up, let's do the only thing left and hit him for a significantly larger amount. Spit, please. There we go. Give it a second, get the 3 stacks. Get our corrosive, get that. 1.5, but we killed more enemies because the damage scaled a little harder. Obviously getting more status procs. Doesn't scale our damage at all because there's no Archwing gun, condition overload, galvanized mod, right? So these weapons just got power crept by primaries in terms of like being something cool to use in a mission. Primaries are stronger than these, and it's not even close. So essentially, you're basically going to be picking something by its alt fire. Alright, Ooga Booga big number time. You missed. Alright, 3.2 million. There you go. That'll do some damage. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for me to recommend something, if you want to sink some forma into it, the Mausoleon's the safe bet. Let's talk about the other two. This one's kind of interesting, the Cortege, or however you pronounce this. Again, same thing, base damage, fire rate, crit chance, multi-shot crit damage. So it's only these 3 mods. Again, went corrosive heat. Did full 60/60s. Reason being is the crit chance on this weapon is garbage. But it's still usable because the crit chance mod for this is 100%. So we're just trying to RNG higher heat procs. But this is another Deimos Archgun. It's got an alt fire, and it's pretty good. Not as good as the Mausoleon, for sure. Whoops. And it's the Ghostbuster thing again. This is definitely better than the Larkspur. It has innate heat only on the primary fire. If you look, it's only proccing corrosive heat, the virals from the Panzer. A pure heat build would definitely be viable on this. Alt fire, 100k. Let's build up another one. This is like the Larkspur 2.0. And it's a little flamethrower, right? The problem with this gun, though, for like regular missions, I would suggest only using this on like a mech, is because the ammo pool is crap. It's literally 3 clips, but like the Ignis, the clips are big, and it acts like the Ignis also, where it has like the cone that it fires through. You can see that if you mod for corrosive heat, the damage does get up there. Obviously not a level cap capable weapon. But alright. Time to buff. Obviously the kill rate goes up. Long ass reload. And the range on this is pretty decent. Like the innate range on it. But I would put this weapon kind of in the category of maybe just something if you want to run something different on your mech. If you don't want to run any more heat for whatever reason, another difference would be to put this on ballistic measure, or say you just want the heat damage to be as high as possible, like a pure heat Ignis. And you would do combustion rounds here. You would have to forma again. But you could run that also. Just the alt fire wouldn't be quite as powerful, and you would want to use the primary more. But it's a better version of the Ignis, at a minimum, because of the base damage. But I like the corrosive heat build. That goes here. Yeah, I like the corrosive heat build. But running more range is definitely viable. But again, not many people have all of the Railjack Archwing mods, and this is a rare drop, so your mileage may vary. I actually don't even know what this goes for. Hold on. Warframe market. Yeah, it's 75p for this mod because it's such a rare drop. I wouldn't even bother buying this. It's so nominal, and unless you're using this against like infested. This is a pretty good time against infested. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still in like the area of like clearing trash. Technically, this can do more damage than the Mausolon, because this is a cone. So if you like taking that stuff into account, I still run the Mausolon mostly. Reason being is occasionally because the base damage of these weapons is so weak. Even running 360/60s, I'm only getting 385 raw damage on this with the modded damage, and it's pure impact. So there would be a case for this being like a corpus killer, but that's up to you. So obviously the 5 same core mods mod how you want it based on the enemy you're trying to kill. Just keep in mind the primary is base heat right here, and mod accordingly. So this would probably be better not being used against Corpus, though the alt fire does have impact on it, and blast, so it could do some damage against Corpus. But again, your mileage may vary. Let's do the other one, the Morga. This weapon's actually pretty fun when equipped on a mech. Okay, when equipped on a mech, this weapon's a good time. Because it turns full auto. But if you use it like this, if you notice it's burst fire, and nice reload. It's burst fire. I wouldn't use this as a standalone. The damage isn't that high. But it's another thing where it's got the primary fire and the AoE. Again, modded for corrosive heat. It's kind of hard to get around it when viral doesn't work against the Deimos enemies, which is where this is designed to kill. And here's the alt fire. The little grenades. Good damage. Fall off is kind of nasty though. But it's burst, so it shoots multiple at once. So if you look at the clip, it's shooting multiple things at one time. But you will burn through ammo so fast. Like, it's only got like a clip and a half. I don't know why this weapon has such low damage on it. Let's show the boosted damage. Yeah, it's labeled as burst, but you hold it down. So with this, because of how fast you burn through ammo, I would only use this on a mech. It's pretty nice when you can hold it down, because you're proccing 3 bullets at once, but the fire rate's so slow it doesn't matter. Alright, boosted. 2 mil. Or 200k, sorry. I also saw 20ks. Yeah, it's not enough fire to stack the toxin procs fast enough to do a ton of damage. So your mileage may vary. And I think that's all of them that's really worth talking about. The Singus is kind of crap. Evenly weighted IPS. No radial or secondary. It's just a burst gun. The Phaedra used to be a good time. Puncture weighted, you run like a corrosive build on it. Really high fire rate and big magazine on it. Feels pretty good. But these weapons just got power creeped. So if you're looking for a recommendation, for like a mech gun, it's kind of hard to beat the Mausolon. Burn down trash with the primary fire. When you come up against something big, hit it with the alt fire and you'll kill it. So that's kind of the way of using it. If you're doing Orphix, take the Fluctus because it's got the infinite punch. On defense missions, like Archwing defense missions, the Grattler can put in work. Because the ammo issue gets gotten rid of and the AoE starts paying dividends. Especially if you're doing the, what is it, a pursuit. It's a pursuit mission for Archwing. The Grattler, as much as that mission matters, right? But the Grattler is the easiest way to do that mission. Imperator Vandal used to be the God Gun. The Prisma dual Decurions, I'm just not a fan of them. And considering they're the newest one, I figured they would have been a little bit stronger, but their base damage is so low and there's no alt fire. And these came out after Deimos, so they're not even stronger. The Deimos Archguns are the strongest. And for Profit Taker, you're probably doing the Imperator Vandal or the Velocitus to one shot. So the Cortege, the Morga, the Mausolon for your mechs, Velocitus for PT, and mod it element wise for whatever complements your build, right? Fluctus for Orphix Venom, um, and the Kuva Grattler for pursuit and for defense missions. And I think that's about it. And the Larkspur is a good time, so is the Cortege. But there you go. That's an Archgun overview. Mausillon number 1. For Profit Taker, Velocitus number 1. Okay, so quick addition. I wanted to include this, but I forgot to. Should you want to run these weapons, the Archguns, in a mission, there are 2 main ways to deal with the ammo pull issues, because they pull from the Archwing or the Archgun ammo. So mainly your ammo drop is going to be an Archwing cooldown drop reset. Will give you ammo. But say you need ammo, right? You're firing, and you want to use this in a weapon, or use this in a level. Protea dispenser. So see, I'm at 20 over 100. Now I'm at 20 over 120. This will give you, because it's universal ammo, this will give you ammo for your Archwing gun. And also our boy Lavos. Yeah, the transmutation probes. Alright, so we use some ammo. We walk over this, doesn't count. Send it over, we pick up ammo. So you can get ammo this way if you want to use an Archwing gun in like in a regular mission. Those 2 ways would be preferred. So your mileage may vary, but Protea and Lavos can keep the ammo up. But just as an additional side note, I should have included it, but that's how you keep the ammo up in a mission. Protea, if you're doing, say, like a camp build, obviously Protea is a fantastic support frame. But if you're running and gunning and you can keep Lavos alive, fantastic also. You'll be able to pick up ammo with vacuum pretty regularly. Stuff like the Fluctus would even be good. And spam heavy guns, even the Morga with its small ammo pool wouldn't be an issue to keep up. But thank you. Have a blessed day, guys.